Welcome to the Unshakeable Talks with me, Katy Schweiger. This is not just another podcast. This is your girls' chat for business women. I'm going to speak to women in business, and we're not just going to have a normal conversation. We're speaking about what it really takes to build a business, to scale a business, why we are doing business, and what are the real challenges. What are the things no one actually talks out loud? What are the things which are holding us back? And what are the things which are really driving us to do what we're doing? So I believe running a business as a woman isn't harder, but it is different. So it's time we actually start talking about it. Let's get into it. On today's episode of the Unshakeable Talks, I'm speaking to Paula. And Paula is the founder of the Haus of Authority. And I can't wait for this conversation. Welcome to the Unshakeable Talks, Paula. I'm so excited to have you.
Me too.
I actually don't know where to start because I could talk to you for ages. We have so much to talk about. But I've met you a few years ago, I think at an event the first time.
Yeah.
And you're just a pocket rocket. Like, you are so bubbly. You literally live and breathe what you're talking about, and that's authority. So tell me a bit about what you do now and what you did before, because that's quite interesting, because I think for me it's like two completely different worlds.
I feel like it is two completely different worlds, actually. And it's really funny that you just said a little pocket rocket, because one of my best friends has always called me like Polly Pocket. Because you know the like little Polly Pocket dolls of like the 80s or something, showing my age. But it like, I'm tiny, first of all. Everyone always says like, you were so much shorter than I thought you were in real life. But also, I love that you said that. But anyway, what I do now. So right now, I am the founder of the Haus of Authority. I'm a business mentor and authority activator. And like, I'm so passionate about like working with women in business, which is not the standard like, okay, this is the strategy, this is what I want to work with you on, this is what you need to do to get to what your goal is. We do all of that, but it is like so important to stand out in this industry, to know your point of difference, to know what makes you unique, to know like within your core and your soul, like what it is that you live and breathe and would die on this hill for. And that's your authority. And like my previous life and how I got into this can be seen as very different, but I think there are so many links between it, because I was a teacher and a deputy head teacher for like 20 years. Yeah, 20 years. I'm really old.
No, you're not.
So for 20 years, and in that career, so I started, because I'm like an August birthday, so I was like 21 and 4 days, and I was stood in front of a class, my own class, with this like responsibility to teach year fours. And I was like, I had this moment, and I can vividly remember it now. Like, shit, like I am responsible for these people. I'm only 21. Like, I don't have a bloody clue what I'm doing. But I obviously did, but I loved what I did. And that passion like drove me in my career to like promotion after promotion, but not necessarily to get the promotion and to, you know, get the next pay rise. It was, I just loved what I did. And I loved from my very first year in like my career, leading, whether it was leading kids or leading like the other people that I worked with. I loved it. And that led me to getting up to the position of deputy head. And I never wanted to be a head teacher. And I always knew I never wanted to be a head teacher, which in some ways people used to say, but you're so ambitious. Yeah. Like you've gone from this to this to this. Like so many things I did at like an early age. And they were like, why don't you want to be a head teacher? Like we can see you leading the school.
So why didn't you want to be a head teacher?
Because there was, for me, and this goes back to like why I love what I do now, being a head teacher is all paperwork. You're removed from the people.
Right.
So it's like you're at the top of your industry, your like business, your school, but you're liaising with all the like the big bods, if you like, and you've lost, in all honesty, you lose touch with what's happening on the ground. Like you're not working alongside people necessarily the day in, the day out.
You're not in the middle of it.
Leading them forwards. Exactly. You're not necessarily like, you are aware of what's going on in your school, obviously, but it was more, I can't even think of what the word is, but it was more...
Is it more of a superficial level?
I think so.
You know the important things you need to know as a deputy head or head teacher, but when you're a teacher yourself, you're in the middle of it, you experience it on a daily basis. So that I think the human connection piece to your work is probably much more deeper than when you're a head teacher.
Absolutely. And that's what I loved about being a deputy head teacher, because you are the liaison, if you like, between the ground, the teachers, the kids, the parents, everyone part of the community, and the head teacher. Yeah. You're almost the go-between. And it was my responsibility, and I always took it as my responsibility to lead people alongside. Many head teachers, I should say, I've worked with are very top-down leadership. Yeah. Not dictatorship as such, there is one who was, but more this is what we're doing, follow me. Yeah. Whereas I was I am the leader, always have been, as come along with me, this is what we're doing. And I think that leans, I should say, so strongly into what I do now as well, because it's being an authority for, everything links back to that word. Yeah. Being an authority for who you are and how you lead and how you do it different. It doesn't have to be a top-down way. It doesn't have to be the top of the crop. You don't have to be the best of the best with the highest income, the most clients, to be an authority. You can actually be on the ground level and still be an authority, because it comes out of
the impact
who
you're
you
making,
are.
Isn't it?
Yes. And I genuinely think so. When you said my two careers are so different, they are, but at the same time there are so many commonalities between the two, and there are so many aspects of being a teacher, being a deputy head, the leadership part of it, that I use without even thinking about it when I work with my clients now as well.
But is there also, apart from, I would imagine, in the teaching world, there is a certain way how you are showing up and how you're supposed to be showing up to be taken seriously. And the way you are operating now is your authentic self, true authentic self. And you are so bubbly. You are not just in the way you dress. You are very colorful. You have such a huge personality.
Thank you.
But I could, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I could see if you would have been exactly Paula today when you were a head or deputy head teacher, that people probably wouldn't have taken you seriously. Am I wrong in this? Or?
You're not wrong in this, but there's a real story here as well. So you are completely right. So when you're, and it's not just in teaching, but when you're in the corporate world, lots of people have come into the online business and they've had a career before. Yes. And it's corporate of some way, shape or form. And there is a way that you're supposed to be. I do this a lot. I don't know why I do inverted commas in the sky. But there is a way that you're supposed to be. And for me, not so much the teacher part, but when you get into leadership and you're the deputy head, it's like the power suits. And you walk into a room with all these other deputy heads, and a lot of them were men. There were a few women in there. And everyone, obviously the men are in their grey suits. And the women are usually in a trouser power suit. Yeah. That is not a very bright colour, for example. I always felt like I had to be that way. Yeah. That kind of to be accepted, I need to dress like those. But there was such a part of me that couldn't be like that because it wasn't me. So I kind of found a bit of a happy medium in some ways, although some people would say you didn't, you were just yourself. But I never could do a power suit. It's just not me. I don't wear blazers with a pair of jeans. It's just not me. And there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. But I am more of a bright, flowy, even though I'm in trousers today, but they're pink.
But they're pink and they're flowy.
They're flowy and pink. But I would walk into these meetings and I would be in a bright coloured dress with massive heels. It was a talking point in the school. How do you wear heels? I'd be walking around the corridors in bright purple shoes with 4-inch heels. And they were like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I just like to dress this way, because I think how you dress, I think it's a massive part of like who you are. It's a reflection of who you are
absolutely.
and your personality. And I think subconsciously now, when I look back, I think part of putting on I keep calling it a power suit, but like a suit was like, I'm going to end up being someone
you're
I'm
suppressing
not,
yourself,
and I actually don't want to be that. So there were many times when I felt like I should be something else. I remember a time when my head teacher, when I was their deputy, said to me, oh, we've got so-and-so tomorrow, like some big important person coming. Are you going to wear a more, what did she say? It was like, are you going to wear something more professional? That was the word she used. And I was like, I think I always look professional. I'm in a skirt, a dress, whatever. But she was like, yeah, maybe you could put a blazer on. And I went out that night and I did buy a blazer because I felt like I had to. Like she made me feel like I had to fit into the box. And I just didn't feel myself all that day. And it was horrible. So I am very much of the thinking that you don't have to dress and be and fit inside a box, because I have felt so many times in my life where I've had to be that. Even if I fought against it sometimes and I still showed up as myself, I just feel like it takes like so much of you away, like your essence, like who you are, your personality.
It does, but if you work in a certain industry, you're almost forced to comply.
You are. Yeah,
you are. And clothes are definitely very important. I feel that as well. They can either make you or break you. They can make or break your mood. They can, like, you have to feel good within yourself, don't you?
Hugely.
Like if you want to ever achieve anything, you have to feel good in yourself, and you have to think, shit, I'm great. I'm bloody great in what I'm doing.
Exactly. And it adds that like feeling when you look good. And I don't mean look good as in everything's perfect. But like when you look good to yourself, you then feel good. Your shoulders go back a little bit. You walk into the room with like more confidence, or you state your opinion more confidently.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's like this natural aura about you. And I think that's really important in business as well, because I think, like there was a time, 2020, 2021, something like that. And it was like the rise of faceless digital brands and things. And it's like, oh, you can make money online and you don't even ever have to show your face. And people really jumped on that because it was like, well, that sounds easy. But people soon realized that, no, you need to show your face, have your personality, etc., to actually make a difference, to have a brand, and like your personal brand, that's what people connect to. And as the
people
industry,
buy people, don't they? By the end of the day.
Exactly. And it's that like, no trust, and you can't get that when it's faceless. But at the same time, I feel like a little bit of that has been lost lately as well with the rise of AI. It's like you've become not a faceless brand, because your face is still there, but like a personality-less brand. And people can't actually get the true nature of like who you are, like what it's like to work with you, because you might be showing your face, you might even be talking a little bit, but if it's so scripted, like when let's just say that person chooses to work with you because you're in the service industry, you're a coach, whatever it might be, and they rock up to a Zoom call with you, like it's going to potentially be like a completely different person that they get back.
Not even potentially. I mean, you and I know there is a lot of this going on.
Exactly.
A lot. Like when obviously I love in person. I think there's a huge value in meeting people actually in person. That's why I wanted my podcast to be an in-person podcast. But obviously that's not always possible. And I think it's great that we have the online industry. We both work in it, so it opens lots of doors. But what I have really realized is a lot of people online who look like they have everything. They have the income anyone wants. They have the personality. They're so super confident. They're doing the travel. They're doing that. They're buying the handbags. They're doing all of whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Without name dropping or anything, and there's no need to do that. But I also know then people who look at those people and getting completely disencouraged and really question themselves and really kind of retrieve, really, and don't follow their craft and what they're really good at, because they start to doubt themselves.
Yeah.
And there have been times where I had to catch myself a little bit as well. I'm not going to lie, because none of us are immune. We are what we consume.
Yeah.
So if we consume this, it will affect us some way or form. But there's a lot out there which looks different online and than in person.
Completely. And it's just for me, again, it's just the worst. It's the worst thing you can do for your business is be a different person, like behind the scenes. And when I say behind the scenes, I mean when you're not online, when you're not writing a piece of content, when you're sat on your sofa watching TV, you should be the same person as you are when you turn up online. And that doesn't have to be like big, bold, F-bomb this and all the rest.
I was just about to ask this, because when you say, obviously, with the whole faceless thing, and we need to see our character and our, like, who we really are, I myself, I can when I know you and I can have a chat, and I think I'm absolutely wicked, by the way, but
You are.
no, I really like myself, but I'm not the most loudest person. That's probably people listening are really, Katy, no, but I'm not generally the most loudest person in the room. So when I do attend an event or when I go somewhere, I may be perceived to be a bit more shy or a bit more holding back, because it's just not me. And I really struggle with this online sometimes as well, because I feel like everyone is talking about we have to show up as our true self and be authentic and be this, but this is my authentic self.
Yes.
Like, it's, yes, I can be loud. Yes, I can be controversial. Absolutely. Yes, I'm really, really opinionated, but I also have integrity. I've got morals, and I wouldn't, and it's not because I'm fake, but I just wouldn't say certain things online. There's no need for it. There's no upside for either way. So therefore, sometimes I may be seen a bit boring.
No, I don't agree.
Would you say that?
No, first of all, you don't come across as boring in the slightest. And knowing you and meeting you a couple of times in real life, you are not that at all. And I don't think you come across that way either online. I think what you're kind of, the underlying thing of what you're saying there is, do you have to be bold, big, all of this crap to like be an authority online? And you don't. When people say about like being your true authentic self online, like what does that mean? I've had so many, the clients I have at the moment are a complete parallel. I've got some who are more outgoing and like literally, I've got one, she's brilliant, she's like a channel, and she allows the feelings to move through her while she's on her content, which so many people wouldn't do. And then I've got other clients who are more gentle in their approach. They're not as confident to talk online, but when we dig into what they are confident and convicted about, then they could talk about that all day. And it's like, right, that's what you need to talk about all day. That's what your true authentic self is all about. You don't have to go on and, like, I talk lots with my hands. You don't, that's me. I'm not doing that to get my passion across or anything. But if you're a much quieter person, then you can still get your passion, your conviction, what you do, what you believe in, what you don't believe in out there. If you start to like jump on these like really strong opinions, but actually you don't believe them,
well, you can't back it up.
There's a disconnect.
Yeah.
So you don't, and I have fallen like foul to it in the past, where it's like, especially in the beginning of business, where you feel like you have to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Because that's what everyone else is doing online. And it's hard to, when you're building a business online or growing a business, scaling a business, because I don't think this ever stops.
Yeah.
It's very hard to like not look at what others are doing and like let that like drop into your subconscious. So even if you don't realize you're doing it.
It does drop in, absolutely. Because also we look at other people from a point of inspiration a lot of the times as well. Because each and every one of us has someone we look up to secretly or subconsciously, or to someone who has done the thing we want to do.
Yeah.
And therefore we were looking at them and thinking, how did you get there?
Exactly.
How did you do that? But the key is to really understand what I think, and I really had to do with myself, because I was very much pushed by my coaches and everything else into a certain direction. And yes, this direction absolutely worked for me. And it was actually nothing wrong with the coach itself, because I came to the coach with a certain revenue goal and I wanted to bring my business to a certain level.
Yeah.
So she did what she was meant to be doing, what I've asked her to do. But once I found actually what I really wanted to do, what my mission is and what I really stand for, and could actually clearly communicate this, we changed ship completely. And I think that's what it's all about. And a lot of people who are disappointed with mentorships or something, they are bad coaches. Don't get me wrong, absolutely. But I do think there is a part of us where we really have to go deep and understand what is it actually we want to achieve.
Hugely, I completely agree with you, because it's like, otherwise you're going to end up. It's like your North Star. Like, if you haven't got like that really clear vision, then you're just going to go off on so many different tangents, which is all well and good if you're like experimenting and testing things out, because I think that's important to do, not against what you believe and you stand for, but it's important to kind of like, I wonder how this would work because I've got an interest in this, or I've had like, innovation is a big thing for me in terms of, don't just do what's always been done. Like, look to see what else. Or I always say to people, like, if money wasn't an option, as in clients would come to you, they'd pay you £200,000 for this offer. Like, what would that be? What would that look like? Like, where would you take them? Like, what would it include? And why? And the why is really important, I think, because that connects you back to like your mission and your vision. Like, why would you do it like this? I think it's so much easier to think bigger and then pull it back to like, okay, so how can I make this work?
Yeah, you reverse engineer it. I do everything like
and I
this.
think it's the 10 times is bigger than 2 times kind of principle, isn't it? And it's so, you will achieve your goals, your vision aligned to what your mission and your beliefs are if you have that big vision and then you can plan for it, as opposed to thinking small. Because usually when you think small, you're thinking about what already exists. And instantly then you are kind of putting up barriers and blocks for yourself. You're keeping yourself in like what I call that industry box. When actually you're great at what you do. Like, there's so much more that you are capable of. And everyone has it inside of them, like their authority edge that only they can bring. But as so many people can't see it to start with, especially because they've kept themselves in this like 2 times this small like industry box, and they just need to think bigger to start with and what they're capable of and the results they create for their clients, and then think, how can I create this in like a realistic way?
So what would you say to someone who says, okay, you obviously help your clients do this, find this authoritative edge within themselves. I can't afford coaching, but I really would like to kind of find this within myself. How do I do this? Where do I get started?
Such a good question. And it is one of those questions that's like, how long is a piece of string? Because it depends on the person. But I would say the first question, you need a lot of reflection. And that's why when you do work with a coach or a mentor, they hold the mirror up for you and they can pull things out. You'll just be talking and this is what I do anyway. I'm like, stop right there, because what you've just said, that's so important. Can we that's it. And there's been so many calls. I'm like, that's your edge. That is your edge. They're just talking, and sorry, there's a fly in my face. You're just talking, they're just talking and you spot it. But for somebody doing this by themselves, I think the first thing to do is like, you need to get introspective and like reflective with yourself. And you need to think, okay, what am I really good at? So, and it's not, first of all, let's just discount the things that you would expect everyone to be good at. Like, I'm really empathetic. I create great spaces. Like, I'm understanding. Because a lot of the time, those are the go-to characteristics that people say. But you would expect that. So what am I specifically really good at? I think a great question to kind of really pull this apart is like, what do other people say about me? Because it's quite often what other people say about you that can be a part of your authority. So that might be, It might be like you hold the space in a particular way. It might be like you're really analytical. Like I hadn't ever thought about it like that. It might be you can have a million tabs open in your head, but actually you can go in depth with every single one of those like tabs. These are really generic examples, but it's like, what do you do that nobody else does, or nobody does it in the way that you do it? And then the next question is, why are you so passionate about that, and why does that help your clients get results? Because it's all well and good like having a thing, but if it's not, why is that important for your clients? Then it's not an authority edge, it's just something you're good at. So it's like that edge, that knife edge. Like, what if two people who do the exact same thing as you are stood in front of you, like you're one of them, obviously. What is it about you that makes someone go, I'm going to choose her over that person? Everything else is the same. You deliver the same results. You work with clients. What is it about that person that makes them the obvious choice, the one you want to choose? That's the authority edge.
And it took you a little while as well to find your own, didn't it? Because I have definitely seen a change in you and in your work. Not that it's ever not been great. I mean, I've always seen your work as great, but there still has been a huge shift lately. And I know you don't mind me saying this. You've also had a little bit of a situation privately with your mum falling ill really suddenly, which really derailed your general day-to-day. And I'm a huge believer in, once you've found like what you call the authority edge, or like your thing, and you're really good at, everything else just becomes so much easier. Like when we keep trying and trying and trying, it's usually because we're not quite there yet. And you have shown up less online because of that situation. Your business is still thriving. You are still thriving as a person. Yes, of course, it affects you, but usually that would completely derail people. That would business would stop, like on a personal development. Now that would completely derail you, but it didn't with you. And do you think, or would you agree with me that this finding your authoritative edge has everything to do with that?
100,000,000%, yes. And it sounds almost like, oh, she's just saying that because like that's what she does, but it isn't. Because when you find, and you could give it a different name, but when you find like what you are here to do, what your purpose is, what your mission, and you're so convicted in it. I'm going to like link this now because I love a cheesy link. That's when you become an unshakable woman, businesswoman, mum, whatever that might be in life, because you know your direction, you know what you're doing. So for me, in beginning of February, I had big plans for quarter one. I launched the House of Authority, which authority has always been in my business. I've had the mastermind for 2.5 years called the Authority Mastermind. But in terms of the brand, the House of Authority was born. I launched it in January. Literally 2 weeks later.
I know, I remember.
Everything happened with my mum. So things took like a big turn. And for 2 weeks, for about a week, I was trying to carry on with work and be supportive. So my mum was taken into hospital like suddenly, and be supportive and do everything I needed to do. She also lives in Wales. I live in Bournemouth. So there's like nearly a 3-hour, drive in between. And then it was after a week, I was like, I need to actually just put the brakes on a minute, because my capacity to be, my biggest thing that I always is at the top of my list for business is my client experience. People who have paid to be in your world, like they deserve the top priority. It's not your content to bring in new people, your marketing, your masterclasses, like whatever you've got on. My top priority is always giving the best possible client experience. So I was like, right now, I don't feel like I can do that, be there for my mum, be there for myself, be there online and do all the things I was planning to do in quarter one. So I took a week out of clients And I took a couple of weeks out of social media and I shared it on my page as well, because I don't think, first of all, I don't think you're an authority if you don't show the full spectrum of your life.
I was just about to say this was an authority piece on its own.
Yeah. And I don't, that doesn't mean I feel like you have to be vulnerable and share like all your ups and downs and like, you know, I had this for breakfast this morning. But I do
I like to share my breakfast.
Yeah, well, you can do that.
Because I love food. So this is part of me. So I do share food.
And that's fine. There's different parts of you that I think is really important to show online. Because again, that's the brand, that's the person, that's what they like. You love, and it's part of your values. You love food. But see, I've lost track. That's another thing with me. I'll like lose track halfway through a sentence, but that's okay.
Me too.
It doesn't have to be perfect. But what was I saying, Katy?
You're talking about the authority piece.
I was talking about the authority. I do think it's important to show when things aren't going brilliantly or have derailed, because that's the like honest picture of what's going on behind the scenes. And I took those few weeks out. People were, my non-clients, people online, were still showing up. They were still downloading things. I had people sign up for offers during that time that I wasn't there, because your brand, your business is more than just you one day where you're putting a post out or you're doing a talking story. Like if you've got that authority in every single thing that you do, then it stands for itself. You can stand on business even when you're not physically standing in your business, because you've taken some time out.
And I think that's really important, because everyone within the coaching industry talks about create your ecosystem. Yeah. And yes, you need that. You have to be able to funnel your clients through your experience and the offering you're having. However, if you do this without the authority piece, it's still not going to work. You can have the perfect ecosystem. It's still not going to work. It's not going to land with your ideal clients either. So that authority piece you're teaching is an absolute must, isn't it?
Well, I think you can have a business and not have a point of difference that helps you stand out. Of course you can.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But it's only going to go so far, and you are going to feel like you are always pushing and trying and, you know, trying to get people to understand what it is that you do. Whereas if you have that edge, that angle just completely embedded in everything that you do, because it is you. Yeah. Like, it's a cheesy cliche, but it is... It is a part of you already. You're just shining a bigger light on it. That is what magnetizes people to you. And it can be it's your whole body of work. It isn't just a particular offer that you're launching. I'm going to tell you a story actually, because this happened yesterday. Somebody landed on my page, completely new person. It was the day before now we're talking about it. They went through my whole ecosystem. So they downloaded something like a lead magnet, and they signed up to an offer that was like a passive offer, all in the space of a few hours yesterday, because the whole platform, my brand, my business speaks for itself. So that authority comes through. And they actually sent me a voice message, which I listened to on the way driving up here today. And they were like, what you talk about being an authority is definitely the thing that I'm missing, because I feel like I'm just blending in. And there's nothing that makes me stand out or be different. But they said, I know there is, but it's not translating, and that's not coming across to my audience.
Would you say that authority is equal to confidence?
Oh, I would say there's a big element of authority and confidence that go hand in hand, but it's not the type of external confidence. It is the internal confidence in who you are, what you do, what you stand for, the journey that you take people through. So, and I call it conviction a lot, but really conviction and confidence go hand in hand alongside each other. It's you having such belief, which is confidence, in who you are and what you do, and that you can make a difference, that shines its light. So that is why, whether you are a quiet person, a gentle person, a loud and audacious person, that authority can still come through because it all comes from that like inner confidence and conviction in what you do and who you are. Definitely. And I think that comes through with you all the time. Because you're like, does it? Because you are so confident about, as women, kind of having this unshakableness. I make up words a lot. Having this having this like unshakable nature and doing things a certain way, but not doing things your way, but not having to do them like the typical way. And like you said, you are not the most, like the loudest person in the room, but that all still comes through from every single thing that you do.
People always ask me, what does unshakable actually mean? And it took me a while to answer this, but I always say, they think, because I call myself unshakable or the unshakable woman, that nothing kind of rocks me.
Yeah.
But it's actually completely the opposite. I have wobbles, and when I wobble hard sometimes, like everyone else out there. The only difference is that wobble doesn't derail me.
Exactly.
And I can pull it back, and I know what to do with that wobble and how to get back to being unshakable. And that is, for me, what unshakable is all about.
Yeah. It's about pulling yourself back up. It's like, do you know what I saw in my head then when you were just saying that? And I can't remember what they're called, but there's like these like wooden doll things that are like round on the bottom. Kids play with them, and you like knock them over and they roll back up.
Yeah.
Like they don't stay on the ground. It's almost like that's what I saw when I was speaking. And I think it's the same, unshakable authority, having the confidence in what you do. You're going to have some knocks,
absolutely,
but you don't stay down. You like rise back up. So what happened like in Q1 with my mum and that derailing me, I could have let that be like shit. Like
you could have let that be the end of your business.
Absolutely. Like, I want to hide away now. I don't feel like I can like have face because I haven't shown up for a couple of weeks, or this is the end of everything. But it's not, because it was like, I know those things are part of business, and anyone who tells you, whatever stage of business you're at, that doesn't happen, or there's not occasional like fails in your business, they're just completely lying.
They are lying.
There are going to be situations, and they're going to happen whether you're brand new in business, 10K months, a million K months. Don't know, million K doesn't sound right. No, it's not a million K. It's million pound.
You know what I mean. We know what you mean.
But it's going to happen at every stage, because the whole new level, new devil.
Yeah.
And there are going to be mistakes that you make, there are going to be flops. There are going to be things that like don't go right, whether it's in life or business. But it's how you pull yourself back.
Also, that's growth.
Yeah.
In general.
You learn so much
absolutely.
from
I see failure as research.
Yes. I definitely think it is. I used to say in school to kids all the time, mindset has always been a thing for me. And I used to say, if plan A doesn't work, there's another 25 letters of the alphabet.
Absolutely.
Keep going. Like, you just keep going. That didn't work. Okay, why didn't it work?
Yeah.
Let's look at it. What can we do different? And also, do I just need to bin it off completely? Because you don't always have to refine something and make it
sometimes
better.
it just doesn't work.
Exactly. And sometimes it's like, no, let's just get rid of that completely and go back to the drawing board and think again. So it's the mindset piece that comes in as well. And like the amount of times I'll have a client message and they're having a massive wobble with something, and it could be like any different thing, and it's okay, this is just literally a moment in time. Can we just like zoom out and look at the bigger picture here for a minute? And within the space of like a few minutes, it's like, oh yeah, I can see now. So it's that you just need to zoom out sometimes and see the bigger picture, because a failure, we can make it mean something about ourselves, but it doesn't have to mean. You are in control of that.
Do you know what it means? It means you tried.
Yeah.
So you've done more than 99% of people.
Exactly.
You just give it a go, and I think there's a lot to
1%, isn't it?
There's something really big to be said about this. So I think failure is actually great.
I
Personally
don't disagree with you.
Obviously, we don't want it too much. Yeah,
well, you don't want to constantly fail and fail and fail and fail. But if it's how you handle failure.
Absolutely.
And I think that goes to speak for the women in business, but also in life, that make it, so to speak, whatever their version of make it is, they see failure as something you learn from and something you can grow from. Because like we just said, there's going to be so many times where something is going to like upset the apple cart. But actually how you rise from it, how you grow from it, how you turn that into a learning point is how you're going to like thrive and smash ceilings.
Absolutely.
That's basically it, isn't it?
I mean, we could talk for ages.
We could.
But I would like to do my fire questions.
I can't believe it's like nearly the end.
I know.
I could talk for so long.
I got my 10-minute warning quite a while ago, so let's move to the fire question.
Look, I'm nervous.
Are you ready? Well, we haven't actually spoken about a lot of things because we could speak.
We could speak and we go off on different tangents.
I
which
know,
is a good
but
thing.
let's go for it. So you left a 20-year career in education for coaching world, a completely unregulated industry, where everyone can call himself and coach overnight. Do you ever have a crisis of confidence about that? And how do you think the industry needs to change?
Oh, that's like a hot seat question. Wow. Okay. I don't have a crisis of confidence about it at all, because when I left, I spent time doing my qualification and I went all in on that. I just left as well. Just like literally talk about risks and if it could fail. I left my career, left my salary, everything, went all in. And I know I did everything the right way. So I don't have a crisis of confidence. What do I think needs to change with the industry? I definitely think that there needs to be something within regulation for people who can call themselves a coach, a mentor, whatever, because it depends what you're helping people with and how you're moving people through the journey, like whatever it might be, life coach, confidence coach. But if you are just, it's the same as anything. I literally was watching something on Netflix on the weekend called The False Prophet. And it was like somebody who pretends to be a prophet and has a cult, basically. Go and watch it. It was very good. But there's so many walks of life you can do that in. I think it's just important for people who are looking to invest to do their due diligence. And I don't mean asking somebody what their qualifications are. I mean, you can do that. But it's like looking at what happens inside their world. Yeah, like, the whole picture. Looking at the big picture, like, does this person like walk the walk and talk the talk? Or are they just like blowing smoke up your ass through like their good Instagram content? Exactly. Like, what's the depth behind it? Do they work with clients? What are their results? That's what I think you just need to do your due diligence. I completely agree. Yeah. Right, next one. I'm nervous. You challenge the idea that professionalism is about appearance, but society clearly still judges women differently on how they look and present themselves. Is it naive to tell women to ignore that reality when it can generally cost them opportunities? Oh, God, these are hot takes, Katy. I know. I tried hard. I'm prepared. Okay, so, gotta remember the question now. Okay, so I'm not saying you have to completely ignore, because like it's, you go on holiday to certain places, you need to cover up when you go in. Like there are societal expectations that you may need to follow. Yeah. And if that's the path that you want to be on, then there's also a big part of you that is like happy to be that way or happy to follow it. But like the example I gave earlier of like, I still never wore a power suit other than when I kind of had to go and buy a blazer, which I hated, and wore that one time. And there's a picture as well in a prospectus that I hate because I'm wearing that. But you can still be you. You can still bring parts of you into it without you going all out there. Like you don't have to completely conform to a way of being, a way of dressing, a way of showing up. If you love pink, you can still wear pink. You can just wear the brightest pink power suit that there ever could be, if that's what you want to do. You can still bring you in. But I do think it's important to, and I do think a big part of this comes with age, if I'm completely honest, that you do just think, fuck it, I don't care anymore. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Like, somebody hasn't died because I've just worn a bright pink outfit instead of like a posh suit. Like, okay, you might lose your job. That's the worst that could happen. But then you probably wouldn't do it, would you? Like
I think there is an aspect,
parameters.
because my daughter is obviously at a stage where she's looking for a job, and she is looking for quite a corporate role, and there's a certain way to dress in big corporations. And it's not that she doesn't agree with it, but she definitely loves to wear athleisure wear or something more comfortable.
Yeah.
And we had to have this conversation when she did her internship last year. And we said, you have to dress up a bit more. And we found a compromise.
Yeah.
So it was appropriate for work, but it was also appropriate for her comfort level. So there is a way to work around this.
There is a way to work around it. And you can still bring parts of you in. And like you said, like I'm sure your daughter absolutely loves what she does, so she wants to like be in that world. So there is definitely like a very thin line.
Yeah, sometimes
between the two.
One thing has to give to allow
and
you to get the other.
It goes to your morals, your like you know what's right and what's wrong and what's really going to piss someone off as well, don't you? And but I just always think, bring part of you through. And in the online world, I think bring as much of you through as you possibly can. Not trying to be anything that you're not, but just be yourself. Just be yourself. Like, it's such a overused saying, and like, well, what does it mean? It just means don't give two shits to like what somebody might think.
Also, there's
be yourself. Say what you want to say. Like, if you truly think it, feel it, then be it.
Yeah.
That I do think that's really important.
Because the thing is, there's 7 billion people in this world. There are your people out there. Not everyone has to buy into like one narrative.
Exactly.
And also not everyone wants to. I think society actually screams for authenticity. We're screaming for people to be just themselves.
This now more than ever.
Yeah.
And like with the rise of AI and everything, like you can't even tell when a video online now is real or if it's AI.
You can tell in my videos, which is so unprofessional. You will definitely be able to tell.
But there's so many things out there, and it's like there is more of a need right now in like 2026 and going forward to the future to be more you, more authentic, so that AI can't carbon copy you. Like, nobody could copy you. Your isms, the way you speak, the way you use your hands, like the way you dress, all of those things are uncopyable if you are truly your authentic self.
Yeah. I speak with my eyes. So if you ever see a video where I don't roll my eyes, it's not me. It's definitely AI. Because
Am I watching the rolling of the eyes?
You're going to see it now, because I always roll my eyes or do something with my eyes.
Well, mine's my hands. I'm like this. And when I'm holding a microphone in my hand, it's the worst thing ever because the sound will go in and out.
I like to end this episode. No, I don't want to end it, but I have to end it for the time issues. But I like to end it on the question I asked everyone. If you could go back and give younger Paula one brutally honest piece of advice when it comes to business, what would that be?
Comes to business, okay. Young Paula, like I look at her and just think, oh, bless you, because she was, she cared so much about what other people thought. And I would say, first of all, it's probably two parts, and this is like a life thing, not just a business thing. Yeah. But I would say being you and not pretending or worrying about what people will think about you or if you're different to others is going to be your biggest strength. So actually stop worrying and stop judging yourself against all the other people, like from a kid level to a teenage level to a in my career level. Be the most you can possibly be, because that is what is going to make you the most successful in your business.
What a statement to end. Thank you so much for coming on the Unshakeable Talks.
I absolutely loved it. Thanks, lovely. You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to the Unshakeable Talks. Please make sure to give us a follow and come back next week for another great conversation with another amazing woman. But I also want you to come to my event I'm hosting very soon. If you like listening to my episodes, if you like meeting the women I'm bringing onto the Unshakable Talks, you will absolutely love my event, because you're actually going to be in the room with the women from the podcast or women who do similar things. Tickets are only £10 and everything goes to charity. A charity I chosen because it aligns fully with the values of the Unshakeable Talks and with myself. The link is in the show notes. Get your ticket now.